If you like this video, subscribe to my channel, but let's get right to it. Look, I was kind of shocked. I saw that Deadline was reporting that Colin Farrell is in negotiations to play the Penguin in Matt Reeves' The Batman. And I was like, oh, that's an interesting choice, because just a couple of weeks ago, Jonah Hill was in the running for either Penguin or the Riddler, but backed out. So pretty wild. And then they drop another bomb, which really wasn't much of a bomb. Andy Serkis is going to be playing Alfred Pennyworth, the butler. And that's fine. I mean, and that's, I was expecting him to be in the movie in general, just because, the relationship that Matt Reeves has, with Andy Serkis playing Caesar in the Planet of the Apes films and things like that. So, it's starting to round out to be a pretty good cast. Paul Dano is going to be playing the Riddler. Obviously, Rob Pattinson is going to be the Batman, and then of course they had Zoe Kravitz was cast. That was like a week or so back as Catwoman. So yeah, so we got. And look, I'm thinking this is going to be more grounded in reality. Okay, I don't think we're going to get a Tim Burton-esque kind of performance from Colin Farrell as the Penguin. I think he'll be a businessman, a shrewd businessman or something to that effect. Maybe they'll give him an eyeglass, but I mean, even that, it's kind of like it's dated. You don't know what time frame this is going to be in. So, is it the 90s, the 80s? Like, what are they trying to capture with the Batman? Is it modern day times? And I just don't see the old glass eye, and the top hat. And I don't see it being Burgess Meredith type of Penguin. But it'll be interesting to see how it's played. Like, does the guy have a fetish for penguins? Does he own some penguins? Or is he just Cobblepot or whatever what's the name that they call him? Anyway, we all know the Batman lore. We all know the comic book. So Paul Dano is an interesting choice for the Riddler, but I mean, he's got that mystique to him. So I think that's going to work. Zoe Kravitz. I mean, look, it looks like they're doing a good job with the casting of the Batman. I'm still a little nervous about the script, because it was reported months and months and months ago that, Warner Brothers, wanted more action in the script. And this is more of a detective story, kind of a murder mystery, kind of like Spyglass, Batman actually doing like real detective work, CSI type detective work. And there just wasn't enough action. So Warner Brothers was like, nah, dude, you got to punch this script up. We're not happy with this. So right off the bat, you're like, what are they doing? What is Warner Brothers doing? And I think, it looks like Joker, which I still haven't seen yet. And I had another video about this. You should go back and look at my other videos. Didn't want to go see the Joker. I didn't want to be like everyone else rushing out to see Joker. Cause again, I feel like that movie's a little bit of a ripoff of Taxi Driver and the Comedian. It's funny, not to go off on too much of a tangent, but Martin Scorsese did an op-ed in the New York Times today. And he basically said, he was executive producer of Joker, or came on as a producer in the beginning, and then bowed off the project and got off of it. And he basically said what I said in my video, is that the script basically ripped off two huge films that he was involved in, the Taxi Driver and the Comedian. And that's the thing. Like, it's one thing to be original, but the problem is, like, Generation Z, which is the new up and coming generation of kids, I guess you'd say. They didn't see Taxi Driver or the Comedian. They don't understand going into Joker that that Todd Phillips was a fan of those movies and basically made a remake of those movies and put a Joker in it. That's basically what he did. And so when Scorsese is like pissed off about the comic book movies, and he's been going on these rants lately. A lot of it has to do with it. I think he just feels like they borrowed way too much of his own properties. And I don't blame him on that one. And that's one of the reasons why I haven't seen the Joker yet. So the big question is, now that the Joker has hit $934 million worldwide, I would say they're going to keep it in theaters, for the next month or so, going into the holidays, before all the big tentpole films that are going to suck up all the screens. It's going to start dying down, but they may be trying to break $1 billion with this. And if they do, the big question is, do you figure out how to add? How are they behind the scenes scrambling to put this in a time frame? Like if Joker took place in the 80s, is this film taking place in the 90s? And is there room for Joaquin to get into this thing either on the tail end of it or something? They're going to drag him in. It's going to happen. And so when they're going with these heavy hitters, and I say heavy hitters because Rob Pattinson, I don't know if anyone's been out there and seen The Lighthouse or seen any of his other dramatic work, but the guy's got acting chops. So he's going to bring it just like Christian Bale. Paul Dano is very artsy. He's always doing the art films. Zoe Kravitz, I'm not really familiar with her so much and what she's been up to, but hey, look, now you've got Andy Serkis as Pennyworth, and I have a funny feeling, he's not going to be the stuffy Alfred that we've seen. I think he'll be along the lines of like an action type guy that actually helped Bruce Wayne cultivate his skills. I don't think we're going to get a Michael Caine version here. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think we have the Michael Caine version, which is the best version of Alfred ever. And no matter what anybody says in the comments section, you will not change my mind on that. I had an opportunity to meet Michael Caine back in 2010. Love him to death. Anyway, I'll go off on a tangent, but I don't want to do that. So I'm thinking, look, Joker hits $1 billion. They have to figure out how to put Joaquin in this, and they're going to pay Joaquin Phoenix whatever the hell he wants to come back to the role. They're going to do that. If it only costs $40 or $50 million to make Joker, and it's going to make a total profit of over $500 million because they're going to recoup all their marketing, they're going to recoup everything. I could see Joaquin, if he wanted to come back for a sequel to The Batman as the Joker, I could see him getting RDJ money, Robert Downey Jr. money. I'm talking $50 million, $45 million, maybe 25 up front and a piece of the back end, which in the end could be like Harrison Ford's deal with The Force Awakens. I think he got $25 million up front and an additional $9 million off the grosses. I could, putting them way over $30 million. I could see them cutting some sort of deal like that. But the proof has to be in the pudding. They've got a standard that they've got to meet now after Joker has just gone through the roof like this as this standalone film. Matt Reeves' script already having problems. Are we going to see another misstep by Warner Brothers here? Or are they going to start demanding quality from these films, unlike what we've seen with Justice League and things like that? We'll see what happens, but I'm excited. Colin Farrell is the Penguin and Andy Serkis is Alfred Pennyworth. Sounds good to me. The big tell for me, whether I'm going to like this version of Batman, is what the hell the Batmobile is going to look like. Right. And if they don't give him one and they make him like some guy that hides in the shadows and fights crime that way, and they don't give him a Batmobile, look, Batmobile's got to be there because Batmobile is quintessential for Batman. It also sells toys like a mother. Everyone buys the Batman cars. And so that's it. That's what I didn't like the Batmobile from Justice League or Batman vs. Superman. Did not like it. Love the Tumbler. Love the Keaton car. Wasn't a fan of the Clooney car. Wasn't a fan of the Kilmer car. Like the 1960s Barris Batmobile. So, give me something that's got teeth like the Tumbler, and I'd be happy with something like the Arkham game, which is kind of what they tried to do with with Justice League and all, but it wasn't there. It wasn't there for me. It didn't look like the one. So give us a good Batmobile, and you give me a good Batmobile and a good Batsuit, and please, for the love of God, let Robert Pattinson's head move around. For God's sakes, do not give him that Batman turn. Let him have the Christian Bale. They solved that problem in The Dark Knight. He wanted more maneuverability. They made it like a helmet. Go Arkham Asylum with it. Make it a helmet. And I'm all in on this. But just the Joker being a hit is not enough to convince me Warner Brothers knows what the hell they're doing with their properties yet. So I'm going to take a wait and see stance. What do you guys think? Do you like this casting? Are you ready for the Batman? You ready to see what's going down? Let's talk about it in the comments section, and we'll see you on the next one.